It's 11 o'clock. We can go on and get started with my part that is not what people are tuning in for. So, but I do want to welcome everyone to What's So Funny. My name is Susan Groshong and I'm your host for this session. I do want to thank you for taking the time to invest in your own development and participate in this year's Staff Recognition Week training seminars. We are very pleased that we're able to bring you 30 sessions over these 3 days of learning and hope that you can participate in some of the other activities that are associated with Staff Recognition Week as well. Now I'm going to go on and introduce and thank our instructor, Amy Bartels. She's from Extension and she'll give you more information about her background. But thank you, Amy, for bringing us this important and interesting topic and hopefully a little tee-hee, right?
Absolutely.
Turn off my mic and let you take it over from here, Amy.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So like I said, if you want to do a fun background, or if you want to do one of those, pick one of those silly things. I can see a few of you right now and you've got those. If you want to turn your cameras on, because we're going to kind of practice some smiling as we go through today. So my name is Amy Bartels, and I am a Human Development and Family Science Specialist with MU Extension. So I'm located in Camden County. Shout out, I just had a college graduate on Friday. So my oldest daughter just graduated, and yeah, jazz hands for sure. It was so exciting and fun to just be on campus again and in the atmosphere with lots of people. I didn't realize how much I had missed just being with people. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit as we go through today as well. So what's so funny? I probably think I'm funnier than I really am, but bear with me as we go through these next 45-ish minutes. I'm going to give you some good researched information, but then we're going to kind of have time to just think about and explore sort of what we think is funny. And if you're anything like me, a catchy title always grabs my attention. So whether it's a book or a webinar, my curiosity sometimes gets the best of me. And so when Susan said, you have 40-ish people signed up, I thought, oh, good. There are people out there like me that kind of want to know what's so funny. I'm probably the one that's, in the grocery store line, checking out the tabloids and looking at the headlines and, maybe sneak peeking what's so funny, right, in current media. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit as we kind of go through to think about what is funny to you. And you might have heard that old saying that laughter is good for the soul. But what does that really mean? And is that really true? So as we go through, Susan, I'm going to ask if I've got the chat up as well, but if you can keep an eye on it too. We're going to be using the chat. If we have time, we might do a breakout. I've kind of got that set up, but we'll watch our time. So I've got a definition popping up here for you. Research shows that laughter is really an effective way for people of all ages to release pent-up tension, energy, to permit that expression of ideas or feelings that would otherwise maybe be kind of difficult to express. And it helps you to facilitate coping with really trying circumstances. Actually, according to Webster's New World Dictionary, to laugh means to make explosive sounds with the voice and characteristic movements of the features of the body. So whether we're like, crinkling up our face, or whether we have tears streaming down our cheeks, or sometimes it's, you laugh till your sides actually hurt, right? Think about a red face. Sometimes if I really get to laughing, I've got 3 daughters and they just crack me up all the time. If I really get to laughing, I might get a real flushed face or real red cheeks, or, feel a little warm, right? So it's kind of this whole physical experience. Laughter is really described by humor researchers as a response to pleasurable or amusing, physical, emotional, or even intellectual stimuli that affect the brain in a really interesting way. It's really complex. So when researchers study humor, laughter, they've really come to this conclusion that it's so complex that it's difficult to settle on one basic definition of humor. And some even assert that these humor patterns are these things that we decide kind of culturally, or maybe in a certain era or a certain time period, and about what people find funny are not even actually all that traceable. So we're going to think a little bit about that. I'm going to give you some opportunities here maybe to laugh. So as public speakers have demonstrated for ages, right? Beginning with not only a catchy title, but maybe a humorous anecdote or a situational comedy. It has the dependably higher positive reaction from audience members. So that's why people do it, right? You have a heavy topic, you start off with a joke, you get people kind of hooked into what you're going to say. This positive humor impact is also traceable in the world of television advertising, right? So you think about, what do you tune in for? The show or the commercials? Companies frequently use humor to introduce or to market their products. And studies show that people remember and they actually respond more positively to humorous commercials than to other types of research. Or I'm sorry, to advertising. So I'm going to show you a clip here. All right. It's about 2 minutes. So hang with me. You may have seen this one before, but as you watch this clip, I'm not actually going to have 2 clips. Here's what I want you to do. And you can use the chat. I want you to pay attention to what you see happening in this clip. What do you find humorous? Or on the flip side, maybe you're like, oh, I can't stand this. Why not? So I want you to kind of type those comments as you're watching, all right?
Either. All right, girls, now this is your last chance. If one piece of candy gets past you and into the packing room unwrapped, you're fired.
Yes, ma'am.
Let her roll!
Oh, this is easier. Yeah, we can handle this, okay? Listen, Ethel, I think this... I think we're fighting a losing game. Here she comes.
Fine, you're doing splendidly. Speed it up a little!
All right, so I saw some comments in there, right? Now I want you to pay attention to this one. It's about the same time length, okay? Completely different show, completely different generation. Give me your thoughts.
All right.
So, assessing the situation, are they breathing?
No, Rose, they are not breathing, and they have no arms or legs.
No, that's not part of it.
Where are they? You know what? If we come across somebody with no arms or legs, do we bother resuscitating them? I mean, what kind of quality of life do we have there?
I would want to live with no legs.
How about no arms? No arms or legs is basically how you exist right now, Kevin. You don't do anything.
All right, well, let's get back to it, because you're losing them. Okay, too fast. Everyone, we need to pump at a pace of 100 beats per minute.
Oh, okay. That's hard to keep track. How many is that per hour?
How's that gonna help you?
I will divide and then count to it.
Right.
Okay, well, a good trick is to pump to the tune of Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Do you know that song?
Yes, yes, I do. I love that song. First I was afraid, I was petrified.
No, it's Staying Alive,
Okay, yes,
Staying
yes.
Alive.
You were in the parking lot earlier. That's how I know you.
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive.
You can't tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Words it loud, women warm, been kicked around since I was born. Well, it's all right, it's okay. You can look the other way. Let it go, let it go.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Yeah, okay, you didn't maintain 100 beats per minute, and the ambulance didn't arrive because nobody called 911, so you lost him.
Okay, he's dead. Anyone know what we do next? Anybody? Rose?
I have no idea.
Anyone else?
We bury him.
Wrong. Check for an organ donor card. If he has one, we only have minutes to harvest.
He has no wallet, I checked.
He is an organ donor.
He is?
Yeah.
Give me some ice in a styrofoam bucket. Here we go. We search for the organs. Where's the heart? The precious heart.
I'm not feeling well. I need to sit down.
Hey, Stanley. Are you okay?
Oh my God.
Daddy.
Oh my God.
Can you tell me why you had to cut the face off the dummy?
I didn't think it was very realistic in the movie, and it turns out it's pretty realistic.
We had to pay for it. Cost us $3,500.
$5,300 for a dummy? Wow. Okay, look, David, this is why we have training. We start with the dummy, and we learn from our mistakes, and now Dwight knows not to cut the face off of a real person.
All right, so. Okay. Funny or not funny? I was trying to scroll through and watch some of your faces. I think they're both funny, but here's an interesting note, right? I saw a lot of your comments. Somebody said I need to watch The Office. Okay, well, my daughter kind of hooked me onto the reruns of The Office. Here's an interesting note. I don't know if you caught this. They were both about the same, just right under 3 minutes. But the I Love Lucy used something called a laugh track, right? So back in the 1950s, when the laugh track was actually, it was recorded, like it was a live recording of people, hysterically laughing. And then they used that as a way to help audience members understand and feel comfortable watching this relatively new medium called television, right? And so shows like I Love Lucy, things all the way up like to Seinfeld used a laugh track and that canned laughter to kind of, help people along. While newer shows, things like The Simpsons was one of those, I say that's a newer show, it's really not, but they didn't use a laugh track. And The Office, if you notice, The Office didn't use a laugh track. They opted not to use it. So they're kind of looking at these different types of humor, right? So slapstick versus kind of that deadpan humor. In The Office, they use this technique where they kind of, they have eye contact with the audience members. So that's the way that they pull you in. It's like you have this shared secret, right? Between, when Jim looks at the camera versus the I Love Lucy, where it's just hilarity fueled by that extra audience laughing. So it's interesting to kind of think about which one made you laugh, which one didn't, which one kind of piqued your interest. If you're like me and you have teenagers or younger people in the house, mine spend an awful lot of time like this, right? They've got their phones, they're sitting side by side, they're sharing something that they're looking at on their screen, and they're laughing, a whole lot of laughing, rolling on the floor laughing. And I feel a little out of the loop, and I'll say, what are you looking at? And so then sometimes they'll share, it's a TikTok or a meme or a GIF or something on Snapchat, and they're just crying, laughing, and I kind of don't get it. So that's okay. We have different types of humor. So I want you to think about these questions. How does humor help your health? What do you find funny? And is there a way to maybe get more funny in your life? So we really know that laughter is strong medicine. It draws people together in ways that trigger healthy physical and emotional changes in the body. Laughter strengthens your immune system. It boosts your mood. It diminishes pain. It protects you from these damaging effects of long-term stress. In fact, nothing works faster or more dependably to bring your mind and body back into balance than a good laugh. In fact, in a lot of cancer research and cancer actually areas in the hospital, it's really no laughing matter, except that they've started using this technique called humor therapy. And humor therapy is actually helping patients to feel better and to make more long-term progress in their battle against cancer. Humor actually lightens your burdens. It does this thing in your brain where it inspires hope. It helps you to feel really connected to others. And it can also help you mentally to retain information better, to be more focused and more alert. Kind of one of the bigger things, and we'll come back to this in a minute, is it also helps you in that bigger area called forgiveness, right? So think about being in an argument with your significant other, or maybe with your child, and one of you just does something silly, maybe not even on purpose, but that little break in the tension can oftentimes turn that conversation where it was heading down a real negative path into something a little more lighthearted. The philosopher John Morrell believes that laughter came about as a gesture of shared relief at the passing of danger. And a lot of researchers believe that the purpose of laughter is related to human connections. So it happens when people feel really comfortable with each other, and it bonds people together. Did you know that laughter is not a learned behavior? It's actually instinctual. So it crosses all kinds of communication barriers. And it isn't always about what we consume, right? So I've been talking about media. I showed you some video clips. A lot of times we can use this media as a quick fix. So if we're, we want to just kind of zone out and watch some funny videos. But the question really becomes, again, do you know what makes you laugh? Do you really know what you think is funny? Maybe it's a cat meme. I'm sorry, put them in there. I think cat memes are hilarious. And this one just got me. Ask me again if the cat's got my tongue, Herb. Ask me one more freaking time, right? I don't know why. That makes me laugh. And then babies. I can't not smile when I look at this little sweet, precious girl here with the big smile on her face, right? Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's just calling your mom, and that just, puts you over the edge. For me, it was my grandma. My grandma and I shared so many laughs. She was a really funny person. She's been gone for over a dozen years, and I still miss her. I still think about her laugh. I want you to think about your who, your what, and your where. So who makes you laugh, right? And I'm seeing some fun things come up in the chat. You are so welcome to just use that. It's always fun also to put a smile on our faces by reading what other people share. So I want you to think about who makes you laugh. I want you to think about what makes you laugh, and then where you typically laugh. I know for me, it's always in a place where I'm not supposed to be laughing, like the library, right? Or sitting next to my middle daughter during the graduation this last Friday, and we were supposed to be quiet, and something she did made me giggle. And, you know, it's like the head down, you know, shoulders shaking, right? And you're supposed to be being serious and quiet. So here's the thing, right? We may have been raised in a situation where we're supposed to act our age. We're supposed to be serious and responsible all the time. But the thing is, laughter isn't irresponsible. Laughter is actually good for the body, and it's really good for the soul. And it's everywhere, right? Life is humorous if we're looking for it. And think about it. We've just been through this thing that I'm sure none of us will forget. It's called 2020, right? So we just came through an increase in stress, an increase in uncertainty, an increase in feelings of dread, maybe an increase in loss, maybe an increase in mourning. And all of that increase in that negative, it carries a weight in our body. It carries a weight in our soul. So I've got up on the slide here some health benefits of laughter. We think about actually that physical act of laughing. A great laugh has some really good short-term health effects. So when you start to laugh, it doesn't just lighten your load mentally, it actually induces physical changes in your body. So here are some things that can happen. Laughter increases your intake of oxygen-rich air, right? So as you're laughing, you're taking in oxygen, you're stimulating your heart and your lungs, your cardiovascular system. You're also getting that oxygen into your muscles. So if you're clenching your stomach muscles or you're laughing and you're using those muscles in your face, it also increases the endorphins that are released by your brain. A rollicking laugh, so just a really good laugh, it fires you up. So it heats up your body and then it cools down your body as that stress response kind of, it uptakes and then it lets out. And what happens is, actually, after a good laugh, you have a decrease in heart rate, a decrease in blood pressure, and so you have that feeling of release. And it's kind of like you can feel it kind of wash over you after a good laugh, like the good kind, right? How do you feel after that? Like, think about that relaxed feeling that comes over you. It really can help to soothe tension. Laughter can stimulate, like I said, that circulation and that muscle relaxation, but it also helps to reduce some of those physical symptoms of stress, right? The tight shoulders, maybe the headache, the clenched jaw. And laughter isn't just a quick pick-me-up, it's actually good for you over the long term. So some of the long-term effects of laughter, it can improve your immune system. So those negative thoughts that manifest themselves into those chemical reactions in your body, some of those things that I just brought up about 2020, right? Some of that long-term effect of stress can actually work to decrease your immunity. But on the contrast, positive thoughts, humor, laughter can actually release something called neuropeptides that help to fight that stress reaction in our body, that fight or flight, that extra cortisol response. And it may actually lead to easing pain that causes the body, this laughter, this humor causes the body to produce its own painkillers, like naturally in your body. Pretty cool. Laughter can also make it easier to help you cope with difficult situations. So it helps you to connect with other people. Even when you're just watching something like a funny video, you've got this camaraderie with thousands, sometimes millions of other people that are watching the same funny thing, right? So it's giving you that broader connection. Many people that experience depression, sometimes due to chronic illness, use laughter or that laughter therapy that I talked about to lessen those feelings of depression, anxiety, and to help you to feel overall a little bit lighter. So I want to give you some permission, right? Because we might think, and maybe you came on today kind of out of curiosity. Maybe you said, yeah, I am the only one that has a sense of humor in my whole office, right? Everyone else is a stick in the mud. But I'm going to give you some permission. Actually, I want you to give permission to yourself. And it's just permission to lighten up. So when life is most demanding, when things are the most stressful or challenging, we need more than ever to take care of ourselves. And one of the ways that we can do that is through this thing called play. So I want you to go back to my earlier question. I want you to think about a who, okay? Who makes you laugh? Or who do you laugh with? So think about that for a minute. Once you have that kind of that visual of that person in your mind, laughing or having fun is a really great way to nourish or nurture the spirit dimension of your health. And like I said earlier, laughter knows no cultural boundaries. You don't have to speak the same language as someone to laugh together. Laughter also helps to break the ice when you're in a group. Leading with a funny or a joke can help people feel instantly connected or bonded to you. It's one form of communication that everyone can relate to. So laughter, smiling, humor, it's that commonality, it's that common thread that draws us together. I want to go back to this idea of playing. Okay, so I've got this slide up here. This is actually a slide that we use in a program that we teach in Extension called Taking Care of You. And we've kind of offered that. Some of you on today may have actually participated in one of our Taking Care of You kind of preview sessions. But when we think about playing, right, we might think about it as something that only kids do, right? And as we get older, we really might play less, or we might stop playing altogether. And we really forget that life is about having fun. That doesn't mean that it's a lack of responsibility, right? Or irresponsibility. But sometimes I think we forget that it's okay to let our hair down, right? We get caught up in maybe our reputation or what would people think of me, right? So I want you to think about what are some ways that adults can play. And maybe put those, if you want to put those in the chat, you can do that. But what are some things that adults do to play? I'm seeing some good things coming in the chat. So it's interesting because actually board games, right? So someone said Pictionary is a great one. You're exactly right. Board games actually have kind of come back into fashion. And we're going to see a little bit of that on the next slide. But I want to give you an opportunity here. So if you've got the ability to turn your camera on, go ahead and turn on your camera here for just a minute. I can see some of you. So I borrowed this from a conference that I attended recently, and it was just so impactful for me. I'm going to go ahead and just show you and let you guys do this as well. So I want you to ball up your fists as tight as you can. And when you ball up your fists, I want you to scrunch up your face at the same time. Okay, so we're all going to do this together. We're recording. I know, I'm sorry. It's not going to look pretty. Ball up your fists. So let's do it together. And ball up your face. Ooh, scrunch it as tight as you can. All right, now release it. Okay, I want you to do it again one more time. Ball them up. Scrunch up your face. Ball it up. Now release it. How do you feel? Right? So it's that release of tension. All right, one more thing. Stretch your arms out. Wrap them around you. I want you to give yourself a squeeze. Give yourself a hug. Squeeze tight. You can even pat yourselves on the back. Right? Okay. That's kind of a simple thing. It's giving yourself some permission to just be. All right, one more thing here we're going to try. Now this is the part I said I borrowed from another conference that I watched recently. And she said, give yourself some permission to say no and to say yes. So you're looking at yourself, hopefully, on your little screen, or maybe you're looking at me, and I want you to say no. Just tell yourself no. Right? Sometimes we all need to say that. Say no. All right, now I want you to try this. I want you to say this. I want you to go, yes. Just say it with me. Yes. You're giving yourself some permission. One more thing, you're going to say, you can do it. So you're encouraging yourself. You can do it. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a matter of, and you can get yourself in front of the mirror, right? And you can practice what that feels like. Sometimes we need to create those boundaries where we're saying, no, I don't need to do that. Sometimes we need to go, yes, I can do that. I give myself permission. So I'm going to go again to that board meeting, right? And this kind of shows some people, they're doing some activities. Maybe they're even, looks like they're making some kind of a positivity board or something. But how does this really translate to the work environment? Humor and this playful communication, they really strengthen our relationships by triggering these positive feelings and fostering this emotional connection. When we laugh with one another, that positive bond is created, and that bond acts like a strong buffer against stress and disagreements and disappointment. Humor and laughter in relationships, it allows you to be more spontaneous, to get out of your head and to get away from your troubles. It also helps you to forget those resentments, the judgments, the criticisms, the doubts, and it can help you to express your true feelings. So sometimes a little bit of humor, even in the workplace, can help some of those deeply felt emotions rise to the surface. And you can get those out and talk through them. So I don't want to take us over our time, but I want to try this. I'm going to give us about 3 minutes. So I'm going to assign, let me see if we can do it. I'll get it set up. I'm going to assign you to a breakout room. Okay. And there will be several of you in the breakout room. When I say go, I'm going to just have you, hopefully you're all familiar with Zoom in the breakout room. So you'll just click to enter your breakout room, and then I'll give you about 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. If you leave, just rejoin the Zoom. Susan or I will let you back in. But here's what I want you to do in the breakout room. You're not going to talk, so I want no words, but I want cameras on. And what I want you to try to do is play catch, okay? So Susan, I'm going to guinea pig you right here for just a moment. If you'll practice this with me, I've got this imaginary ball and I'm going to throw this to Susan. She's going to catch it. Ready? All right, she got it. Okay, so, oh, I got it. Thanks for throwing that back to me. So you all are going to take a ball and I want you to throw it around your group. All right, so I'm going to open all the rooms. You should see an invite and click join. Join your room. All right, as y'all are coming back in, I hope you were able to kind of do a little lighten the meeting, right? So sometimes it's easy as starting off your Zoom meeting or your virtual area where you just kind of give each other a high five, right? Just something to kind of break the ice and get everybody smiling. Cameras are another great way to do that, is just turning your cameras on. So why does well-being matter? We're talking about humor. We're talking about laughter. What in the world does well-being have to do with this? Well, I'm going to show you where this kind of ties in and wraps around to kind of our whole self. Well-being is a word that has grown in use and recognition over the past several decades. We really kind of hear about it more and more. Well-being is subjective, meaning it really relies on an individual's perceived health and overall feelings. And well-being is despite your circumstances. So it's not dependent on where you're at or what your situation is. It's the experience of health, happiness, and prosperity. And it includes having good mental health, high life satisfaction, and a sense of meaning or purpose, and the ability to manage stress. So these feelings of well-being are fundamental to your overall health. Your past experiences, your attitudes, and your outlook can all impact your well-being, as well as help to sort of mitigate those feelings of emotional trauma following certain incidents, because we can't really define what someone's circumstances are. Using humor in difficult times can be one of the smartest ways of coping with these difficulties, of easing your worries and of kind of getting on with life. So when we think about well-being, we also need to think of self-compassion. And self-compassion is really the act of just saying yes to yourself. It's that idea of tuning in and saying, what do I need right now? How am I doing? And giving yourself a message that says, I matter. And I'm okay with that, right? So most importantly, this self-compassion reminds you to embrace loving yourself, even loving different versions of yourself. So thinking about your 5-year-old self, thinking about your 15-year-old self, thinking maybe about your 25-year-old self, and having some goodwill toward that version of you, right? Because it's embracing those parts of you, even when the negativity or even the self-loathing kind of wants to yell louder, right? That lack of self-compassion, or that kind of top tier on my slide, that's the area that sometimes we can get stuck in. And this is where humor, or that lack of humor, actually can keep us stuck. It's that part where we're critical, we're judging, maybe we have a resistance or just a discomfort with ourselves. When we move into that soft side of self-compassion, it's where we begin to be a little more spacious and open. So we're kind of thinking about what are my thoughts and feelings about myself? How can I be more connected with others? How do I create this loving, sort of safe space for me to be in the world and be connected with others? And then finally, we've got this piece of kind of self-compassion where it's a real protective side, right? And that's why we practice that saying no, but then that also saying yes, because it's creating those boundaries that are helpful for us, but it's also encouraging ourselves, so that's self-encouragement, to say it's okay. It's okay to say yes, and it's okay if I mess up. I'm learning and I'm a work in progress. So there are a few things as we kind of come to the end here that we can do. And it's really about lightening up. Put humor on your to-do list. So find a few simple items. Maybe it's a photograph, maybe it's a comic strip. Hang them up around your office space or at home. Keep funny movies or books or things handy when you need a humor boost. You can even look like online for joke websites, or, you know, tune into your favorite comedian, because it's really true that you laugh and the world laughs with you. So finding a way to laugh at your own situation, finding a way to laugh even if it feels forced, right? There's a thing, and I'm not going to make y'all do it. There's a thing called laughter yoga, and you can YouTube it. But it starts off real super awkward, right? Because we're all like, ha ha, hee hee. But then what happens is it turns into this spontaneous laughter within the group. So the person that developed laughter yoga, it's so corny. But yeah, I'm seeing some of the comments. Y'all think it's amazing. I think it's pretty fun too. Because what happens in the room, the dynamic, even if you're watching on a Zoom, is other people around you start realizing how silly it is, and you start laughing. So it's about looking for those opportunities. So I'm going to give you a little question here, and then we're going to end on our last slide, and I'm trying real hard to keep it on time. Humor really gives you a sense of power. Being able to laugh in the face of adversity is a strength. Now, I want to note that that's different, so different than sarcasm or making fun of others, right? There are so many things in life that we don't have control over and we can't change. But as long as we have a sense of humor, we can do something. Humor has the power to turn almost any situation around. This is called resilience. And I know you may have heard of that as a buzzword, right, in the last several years. But I want you to think about, what would your emojis say about you, right? So are you constantly the person that's putting smiley faces behind everything? Or are you the grump and putting the, you know, or the Eeyore in the situation, where you're kind of the bringing those around you down? So think about that. What would your emojis say about you? And I'm going to end on this. Smiling, and this is why I wanted to see your bright faces. It's the beginning of laughter, and like laughter, it's contagious. So when you look at someone or you see something even mildly pleasing, practice your smile. we are getting to the point now in our global pandemic where we're starting to release some of the mask requirements. And I love it because it's so nice to be able to smile at someone. You know, we had to practice the smize before where we were smiling with our eyes. But look up from your phone every once in a while. Look up from your desk or your computer and smile at someone when you pass them in the street, when you're in the drive-through, when you're in the checkout lane. Just smile. It can be the beginning of a conversation, but it can also just be contagious. And you never know who that other person is going to pass along their smile to. So a couple of things real quickly. Don't laugh. This is just kind of the last thing. And then I'm going to play our little clip. And if you need to go ahead and leave, you can leave. Don't laugh at the expense of others. Some forms of humor are not appropriate, right? So if there's something that you personally find funny and it would be offensive or hurtful to someone else, keep that humor to yourself. Use your judgment to discern a good joke from a bad one, or a hurtful one, right? And we have all kinds of HR, trainings about that. So think about that. Think about your who, your what, and your where. That makes you smile or that makes you laugh. And I'm going to end with this last clip. I appreciate your participation, and I'm sorry if we went a few minutes over. So this last one, it has a tiny bit of a religious tone to it, but really the overall message is just to make you smile. I'm going to play this one. Oops, here we go. And while this is playing, if you all need to go, thank you and take care. We're just going to end on this silly note about smiling.
Hey, I'm out here today encouraging people to smile. Just give me your best smile.
Oh, hang on. I want you to smile. It stopped.
You guys are looking good.
There we
High
go.
fives? No high fives. Okay. So I'm out here encouraging people to smile. He's smiling. Hey, I'm here getting people to smile. Sir, do you have a couple minutes? No, everybody's busy.
Lost your way, lost your cool, then you straight up lost your mind. Tried so hard to stay ahead, but you keep falling behind. Life is gonna pull you down, make it hard to see. But a little change in your point of view could be just what you need. There's always a reason to always choose joy. There's something deeper that the world can't destroy. Smile when you think you can't. Smile, get up and dance. Smile, there's a bigger plan. The storm only lasts for a while. So smile. Happiness is wonderful, but it doesn't stick around. Walking on sunshine, then here come the clouds. You can laugh or you can cry when it all falls apart. But I believe the more you laugh, the more you heal the heart. There's always a reason to always choose joy. There's something deeper that the world can't destroy. Smile when you think you can't. Smile, get up and dance. Smile, there's a bigger plan and you've got a reason to smile when you think you can't.
Okay. You win.
Thank you guys so much. I loved all your comments. Those made me smile. So I appreciate it so much. Thanks for attending and enjoy the rest of your sessions.